I think the thing too that can be so scary for people too is just that whole idea of failure. Like, I will hands down say that the times in my career or life and in business that I've failed the hardest have been the things that have set me up for actually the most success. And if you're not failing, then you really aren't like trying and innovating. So I feel like that more than anything, those two things would probably be my message, is like how critical failure is, and then that you really learn by doing. And there isn't a roadmap for it. There isn't a roadmap. There isn't a guidebook. There isn't like an exam that you can pass and then become an entrepreneur. It's like you really just learn by doing. And that's the best way to learn business. And unfortunately, with that comes making a lot of mistakes. But those mistakes that you make are so important to learning how to do business, how you want to run your business. And that, I think, can be really hard, especially as a young person, because you don't know what you're doing. But the reality of entrepreneurship is that often a lot of business people don't know what they're doing. Even though it looks like they do, you figure it out. And I think as a young person, you can have a lot of influences, whether it's teachers or parents, or who really want to have your best interest in mind and really want to mitigate risk as much as possible. But risk is another thing that's like integral to entrepreneurship. The cost of entry, trying something new. It's not like, as you guys know, it's not like a job where you've got a secured paycheck every 2 weeks as long as you do your job. As an entrepreneur, sometimes you don't know if a paycheck is going to come in, and you don't know if a client is going to come in, or you might take on a client or do a venture and you might not make any money. But I think all of that is part of the learning that you do. But the thing with business that I've learned is that business is really about solving problems. And as soon as you solve one set of problems and you grow your business a little bit, or it gets a little bit more sophisticated, you're right on to the next set of problems that you need to solve. So if you don't like problem solving, I would not recommend becoming an entrepreneur. Because that's what you're going to be doing all day and all night. And going back to this idea of failure, in the moment that you're failing, it sucks so bad, but there's always a silver lining to it. And if you can, get up and dust yourself off and keep moving on, there's so much that you're going to learn, and there's so much value that can be added to your business. The biggest moment of failure for me was, so in the 8 years that I've had House of Bohn, was about 2 years in, I want to say. And I had originally started House of Bohn with my partner at the time, my boyfriend. And we had initially started House of Bohn under a different name completely. And we decided to go into business together and do restaurant consulting and interior design joint venture. And we decided that we were going to open a restaurant together. And I was going to do the interior design. He was going to develop the menu. We got funding to do the restaurant. We had leveraged our condo to do it. So we designed it, we financed it, we built it. We were in the restaurant, painting, putting things together. And we thought that me being an interior designer and him being a chef, we thought for sure this was a sure win. There was no way we could fail. And we opened the doors, and 3 months goes by, 4 months goes by, 6 months goes by, and we were bleeding money. We're not even making enough money on a daily basis to break even. So we had borrowed money to get this thing off the ground, spent money during the construction and the build, and now, even though it was operating and we had people coming through the door, we weren't making enough money to sustain it. So after about the doors being open for, I think it was about 8 months or so, we ended up selling the restaurant at a loss. So we didn't recover all of our expenses. Luckily, in that time, when we were still on good terms with each other, because at this point, after being together for 7 or 8 years and having a restaurant together, a business together, another business together, a car, a dog, a condo, breaking up at that point was almost like going through a divorce. But luckily, in that phase, before we hated each other's guts, I managed to convince him to sign over this company to me. And then in the process of breaking up and dividing everything, because of the loss of the restaurant, I found myself personally almost $200,000 in debt and had to sell the condo after this breakup in order to clean everything up. It was brutal. There were nights when I would lie in bed and feel like nauseous and not be able to sleep well and not know, what was going to happen next, how I was going to pay this off. But the reason why I bring this story up and the reason why I think it's so integral to my journey is because I learned so much about partnership, so much, and not like a romantic partnership or a love partnership, but like a business partner and what that means. I learned so much about contracts and how you want to pen contracts and paper contracts and the important thing to have in a contract when you're going into business with someone. I learned so much about the restaurant industry and how numbers work. But it was the wrong design, the wrong location, the wrong concept, the wrong partnership, the wrong everything. And I truly, truly feel like having gone through that and learned all the lessons that I did, it's like I could not have gotten that anywhere else. I couldn't have gotten it in a classroom. I couldn't have read about it, and getting through that, I have definitely become like a way better business person, a way better negotiator, like way more better with contracts. When I look at hiring people, or if I were to ever bring on a potential partner, there's a whole bunch of reasons why I would bring them on or why I wouldn't bring them on. Yeah, all around, it's definitely supported my business. So as you're trying new things and doing new things, like I said before, failure is part of it. You're not going to succeed right away, and I don't think that you should have the expectation that you're going to succeed right away either, as hard as that might be. I guess I'll stop there or end there and just see if you guys have any questions about my story or where it's gotten to today. I get a lot of, have a big interior design following and students who always ask me, like, when should I go out on my own? And I'm always like, what I did, I would not recommend doing what I did, just because in that first year or 2 years, this is before I started this company, when I was taking on clients, I made so many mistakes. And I feel like I probably could have at least learned a few more basics about just the industry and, executing an interior design project before having gone out on my own. I do think that, getting an education, whether it's in school or whether it's working for a company, is totally valuable, because you get to see so much. And I think the reason why I say don't do what I did, even though you learn a ton, is I feel like you can learn, but at a less expensive cost. Like you could still be making a paycheck and learning at the same time, rather than spending your own money to learn so much. I feel like entrepreneurship is not for everybody. You absolutely have to have the stomach for it. You absolutely have to be able to stomach those ups and downs. You have to be able to weather risk and be comfortable with risk. You have to be good with numbers and with people in order to and you have to be good at problem solving. And if those aren't the things that you like to do or you feel like you can handle, then I don't think it's for everybody. If it had gone any better than that, or if it had been, a mild success, or, whatever, if it had broken even, who knows where that path would have taken me. The fact that it was like such a failure and such a bad failure, there was so much that I learned from that time. And I feel like I'm a better business person today as a result of that. That was like I call that time in my life like my business university. Mm-hmm. And you can't pay for that. That's the thing. You cannot get that experience anywhere other than just by doing. And then if you lift your head up, oh no, it's not doing it. Wait, look, you get different glass. Last meeting of the day, we are doing a concept meeting, yes. Right? Yes. Christy and Karin are gonna run through Karin.